So over the past year, I've built and worked in and tweaked my dream bike workshop. We call it the Nuggetorium because I love chicken nuggets. And it's still a little too messy for me. It's still a little too tight. And today I'm going to try to figure out a few ways to tidy the place up, to organize it better, and to just make it work better for me. Step one is purge. Get rid of as much stuff as possible. I have a tendency to hang on to stuff because I think I might need it in the future. Forget it. Just throw it away. The dimensions of the shed are 10 foot by 12 foot. And on the far wall here, I have this big old desk. And I love this desk. I think it's awesome, purposely built. Me and my dad built it. But it is taking up way too much room. It's also causing a pretty big blockage of that space off to the left there. You can see below my lime green tools. That whole space, I was just using a big old garbage can to take up that space because you can't really get into it. You can't really move around. It's very much dead space. So I want to bring that space back to life. So let's pull everything out, clean it all off, and let's cut this thing down to size. Wow, look how nice and clean it looks in there. Yep, because all the crap's just scattershot laying around the backyard now. So my idea is really simple. Just a flat piece of wood that sits in the corner that goes from the left windowsill to the right windowsill. Takes up very little room, but will still be able to hold my monitor and speakers and keyboard, and then all the computer stuff will just go right underneath. So we found some studs in the wall, drilled a couple support beams or whatever you would call these, and then we're good to go. So we used an old bike box to build a template so we could just cut the wood right to size and know that it was going to fit. And by doing that, we could actually visualize that the desk probably was going to be a little too small if we had it the size that we had it. So we decided to kind of bring it out a little bit more, give it a little bit more depth. So we used the template to draw some lines on the old desktop and then got to cutting. Zip a few screws into the support boards, cut a hole for all the cable routing, and we are good to go. But wait, there's more. We're not done yet. One of my biggest problems during my live streams is being able to see the chat. I always love interacting with the chat, and when I'm up close to the screen, I can see it. But when I'm further away, it's really tough. So why not vertically mount a television screen so I can just blow up the chat super big and be able to see it perfectly during my live streams? So that's what we did. I went down to Costco and got this Samsung 4K 42-inch TV for $300. This would be like $1,600 2 years ago or something, but it is perfect. And before I could fire it up and test it out, I had to get the mess off the desk and untangle all this and set it up. Okay, so we got it going, no big deal. But man, setting up a new TV these days, what a pain in the ass. You have to have the app, you have to be connected to Wi-Fi, you have to, you just can't plug in a TV nowadays. And it was actually a pain. For as computer savvy as I am, I hated every step of it. So, of course, I had to go back and find one of the old Ben Cathro videos where he did a vertical video, and oh man, it looks so cool. This is exactly what I visualized when I thought of this, and I was so stoked that it came out so nice. The winds of change are sweeping the Nuggetorium. Okay, maybe it's not the winds of change, maybe it's just this oscillating fan me and my dad installed that is also remote controlled. And a quick update from the last Nuggetorium project, the ceiling-mounted bike stand. I told you guys I would show you the solution that we came up with when we came up with it, and this is what we got. It's a collar made out of wood that allows the bike stand thingy to swing down and not be jiggly at all. It's super solid, and yeah, it's perfect. So the one tool that you guys have suggested over and over and over again for me to get is an air compressor. And I've never really cared about having one in the shed because it would be too loud. It's just such a disruptive, crazy thing. I was thinking if I could put it outside the shed and then run a hose inside the shed, that would work. But it just so happens that my dad bought this one that is like super quiet for an air compressor. It's still loud-ish, but it is not that bad at all. So we decided to take some stuff out of the attic and mount it up into the attic, and it worked out pretty damn good. Heave ho! So we invested in some high-quality Harbor Freight goodness. We got this hose reel. It's about 25 feet, I think, and it's actually pretty good because there's a future project that'll be in one of the next videos where I need the hose to be able to go outside. So we got some big old lag screws and buried them into the attic loft shelf thingy right here. And this is such a perfect, easy access point to be able to grab the hose and use it. So of course, I'm not going to climb into the rafters every time I need to flip the switch on the air compressor. So I programmed one of my smart plugs to talk to Google so I could just do a voice command, hey, turn on the air compressor. Okay, I'm going to philosophize here for a second, but the Nuggetorium is like a microcosm for life. And if you never stop and think about how am I moving through here? What could I do to make this better? How could I live more intentionally? I know that's like a buzzword, but it's so true. There's things happening in here every day that I put up with that are just messed up that I could totally fix and my life would be so much easier. And for me, the best example of this is my work gloves. I never know where they are, so I intentionally made a place for them using a magnet. I've been on a big magnet kick lately. So I bought a few of these strong fishing magnets from Amazon, and they actually made up really well with the head of the lag bolts that we use to put the workbench together. So while we're at it, let's do some more magnet stuff. I've got a few tools that I'm constantly using all the time that would be great to have them right at arm's reach instead of having to reach up and grab them from the tool wall. My tape measures could also use a home. They're always floating around and hard to find. I saw this thing on Pinterest where they used picture frame hanger hardware to hold tape measures. It was a bit of a pain nailing this thing in. I felt like I was going to break the nails, break the hanger, but somehow I didn't. I'm happy with the way it turned out. It slides in decently easy and pulls out decently easy. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I also put one in on the right side. Got to have that symmetry. Then I added in some more cameras for my live stream setup. This is always a little janky with the USB ports and the data, and yeah, it's still a work in progress, but I've got 4 different cameras now, and I'll have to test this out pretty soon. I've been using these bins from IKEA underneath the workbench, and they work really well. Really quick, easy access to stuff. But I don't need easy access to tires. Tires are something you only work on every once in a while. So I bought some bins from Costco, these black bins, threw all the tires in there, and then chucked this bin up into the loft where I can get to it if I need it, but it's not important. It's not something I need right at the blink of an eye. So we're going to file this one under future projects. I had this idea where I would have these laminated maps and they would be up above the bench, and they always look decent, but up close they're just totally falling apart, and they weren't really rigid. They were always kind of hanging and saggy. So I'm taking them down, and I've got some other ideas for what I want to put in their place. Maybe I'll just reboot it and do maps again, but I also have some other cool ideas that will be for future Nuggetorium updates. So now that I've got this open back corner, I can put all the stuff that used to be underneath the desk that was taking up all that room and shove it in the back here and organize it and just get it out of the way. Ah, a nice empty shelving system. I'm sure it will be filled up with a bunch of junk soon enough. So here is the Nuggetorium in its current amazing clean glory. I am so stoked on having the bench cleaned off, having my camera set up, having more organization, and just having that big desk out of the way. It is looking so perfect right now. And in case you forgot, this is what it looked like at the beginning of the video. Sorry about the shaky cam footage. I really should have got a better shot of the mess. I am super stoked on this, and you guys made this happen. Your support in any way, shape, or form, if you comment, if you like the video, if you join me on Patreon, however you choose to support the channel, it's what makes this possible. So I thank you guys so much. I've got more Nuggetorium fun coming up. We're going to do some stuff outside like I hinted at before. Until then, thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the trail.